I'll go ahead and send you guys the first text now.
Cool.
Oh yeah. Let me pull that up too. All right. Hold on. I'll count you in. Are you sending it in the group chat?
Yeah, I sure will.
Okay, cool.
Yeah, I'll send each one right before I do it.
Cool. Okay.
See, Misty likes to read along while you play. I like to listen and see how much I can ingest and then go back and read it and see.
That's cool. I like that you guys do it differently though. That's awesome.
Yeah. I think that's
yeah, I would probably normally do it that way, but like when you're doing a show and you need to like react on, it's easier for me to read along because then I can pick up the key pieces so we can talk about it.
Yeah.
I don't know. My brain just works that way. I don't know. All right. Do you want me to count you in? Are we ready? Everybody's ready?
Yeah, hold on a second.
Yeah.
All right.
Okay, wait. Wait, no, I gotta do that.
Now we're ready. Now we're ready.
This is all staying in.
Listen, I just
the opening theme song.
We had a 420 show. It was fun.
Oh, for slow news day or the vigil?
Me, Steve, Nico. I was really high, so I don't remember who else was there.
While we're on here, we'll need to issue a blanket threat against the person that wiped out Sleepy's bank account.
Oh,
I didn't know that happened.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He said yesterday, and like in two transactions, they wiped his account out.
Wiped him out.
What did they buy?
I don't know. I didn't ask him.
Right.
A car and another car?
No, I don't think Sleepy had enough for a car.
Oh, I don't either. So.
Yeah. No, I'm just saying, like, yeah.
That sucks.
Yeah, it does. Okay.
Okay, yeah.
All right.
We can talk about it later.
Right?
Yeah. All right. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
What's up, everybody? Welcome to this episode of Facts on the Ground. I'm Jesse Zerwell, and I'm joined, as always, by my faithful co-host, Misty Winston. And today we are psyched to have back on the show one of our favorite guests. He's a musician, he's a writer, he's an activist, and that is Jett. And today he's going to premiere a bunch of new songs. I would say an album's worth of new songs for us and for all of y'all watching. And we're really psyched to get into those. So without further ado, Jesse, thank you for joining us once again.
Oh man, of course, yeah. And I've been really excited for this one.
I'm excited. Like this is like we're about to get a concert, like a whole ass concert. I mean, I don't know. What is it? 7? You have 7?
It is. It's 7 pieces. Yeah. And
songs, pieces. I
mean, I would say pieces. I think songs would lead people to expect some kind of music, and these will be recorded just straight.
It's your fault for being genreless.
But yeah, originally I had, I think, 2 more pieces that I wrote after the last time I was on with you guys, and I thought that was it. I felt like I was at a good complete spot for enough tracks for the spoken word album. And then suddenly I just kept writing and everything fit, and I kept kind of building on a few themes that where I'm at now is 15 different pieces, a little over the 10,000 word mark all in all. So I don't know what it'll time out to, but it's going to be pretty lengthy. And once I kept adding on, my biggest concern was that it would, even for people that agree with me, that it would get monotonous, that it's just me speaking to you and going through a lot of heavy themes. There was a moment in a piece I read recently for you guys, really after Hyacinth, where I started kind of going a little sci-fi with it, a little dystopian corporate future. And the more I did that, the more it got to feel like I was kind of telling a story that you almost trick yourself into thinking it's not talking about a real possibility for us, that it's something far off and futuristic. And then there are these moments where it kind of links those two, and it just feels a lot more like a headline you could be reading a month from now or
already there.
Today, exactly.
We're already there.
So the more I did that, originally I did it as an intent to just kind of make things more interesting. But then no matter how far I tried to go down that rabbit hole, it never felt like it wasn't plausible. Like it wasn't something we could actually see happening. So all of a sudden, then I started talking about a lot of groups and concepts that I'd never really dwelled on before. Elon Musk, Jeff Bezos, Boston Dynamics, a few things that I think we're going to be talking about more and more and dealing with more and more. So I'm really happy with how it turned out, and especially these pieces now. I first thought, well, maybe I should just read 3 of them or 4 of them. But I've got 7 pieces I've yet to perform for you guys, and they all are in that vein that I feel like they all play off of one another and build each other up. That it turned into more of a concept album than I expected it to be.
Mm-hmm.
Where instead of unifying themes, now there are pieces that play back to and harken back to other lines that all of a sudden give them a double meaning or validity that they didn't have before. That once I started thinking like that, then I'm getting to try to hide little Easter eggs and make little callbacks, and
little AOC Easter eggs.
Exactly.
So wait, I have a question then. So do you think that these songs are like they should be on the record? Like, do you write them like consecutively, like chronologically, like the virus
thank
was?
you. That's the word I was looking for. No, and I thought about it at first. There are a few of these that I absolutely want that will need to come before other ones. Because otherwise it would be like getting the wrong part of a 2-part birthday gift first, the one that spoils the other present. It's this has to be structured just right to really build up these themes, so that there are some things that get introduced as something innocuous, and later you realize they're far from that, that a lot of those meanings get lost if the setup hasn't already been done. So there are some that I get to jumble around. I think it'll be about half and half. I think for the most part, a lot of those themes started and I want those still where they are. But even today, I got to kind of have fun with what order I was going to do these in, because this is mostly from all the second half of the album. So it's, I've yet to start. Yesterday was my first day really starting to record pieces for the spoken word album. I feel like once I get going, it'll take less time than I expected it to, because I don't have to worry about a track or anything else. It's literally just I do the vocal take, and if I'm happy with it, I'm on to the next one. So I think there might be some nights where it's like this, where I sit and do 5 or 6 of them, and if I can just get in a roll, that's what I'm hoping for, at least. There's a night where I'm just like in the zone. So hopefully this will be together and ready to go within a couple months at most.
Nice. And when you, just before we let you get started, when you order your songs, which you were just talking about, how much do you labor over that? Is it sometimes a pain in the ass?
I try not to too much. That's one that I can get hung up on for a long time. Inauguration Gift did that to me. There were quite a few. And then in the end, there were transitions that I didn't expect, like going into Red Pilled after At Home with the Kissingers. It's a really abrupt end into that soft piano hit. And I didn't realize that was going to transition as smoothly as it did until I got to hear it on Spotify for the first time, and just running right into the next track.
Yeah.
And those were things I didn't even see before it happened. So that was nice. But this is the one that's going to drive me nuts the most, trying to get the track listing just right.
Yeah.
Once I do, I'll be posting a cool little track list reveal and stuff that I've got an idea for. But I just want to make sure I have that right first.
Yeah.
And the idea for the album cover, I've got my brother working on, who did the Virus and Inauguration Gift covers, and will really play into the title of the album, which is The Coming of Spring, and then the themes that kind of started with Hyacinth, of these different flowers and houseplants that are marketed to have like fun home security and Wi-Fi capabilities, but turn out to be a little bit more of the tool of the surveillance state. So we're going to see how far we can get away with that on the cover. But I really want just a psychedelic kind of bouquet of every flower that's mentioned in the context of this piece, but little different bits of either exposed wiring or a camera eye or an obscured Tesla logo or little things like that.
Nice. I like that.
So yeah, he usually I'll give him whatever idea, and he gives me just not only what I'd seen in my head, but like does more with it than I could have imagined.
That's awesome.
And again, if I can get in a plug for him, his name's Landon Morgan. This is my brother, and he tattoos out of Denver. and is
Nice.
phenomenal artist. Deals in only black ink, and his shading and detail and everything is just phenomenal. He did, I don't know how we can see, but he did the bee that's on my arm.
Oh, nice. That's solid.
And yeah, some of the stuff he does is just mind blowing. So there was no one else I could have imagined doing my covers for me. And yeah, it's actually the cover for the Geiger Age too, that's on Bandcamp.
Yeah.
He did that, and he took a photo. He was recovering from COVID and drove, I think, 40 miles each way out into just this nowhere spot in Colorado to this little ruins of a mining town, and took some pictures that he then drew those instruments over. So yeah, again, he put way more into that than he needed to. So big shout out to him, because his stuff is just phenomenal. But
oh yeah. Okay, so do you want to set this song up, or did we just kind of pretty much do that pretty well?
yeah,
you know, just jump into it, because I feel like we've been blabbering.
This will be an early piece on the album, in that this needs to kind of set up a lot of those themes that I go through. This was when I first got to go into a piece like head first, like, okay, how sci-fi can I go here, you know, and still have it be believable, which the answer is surprisingly far.
Yeah. Or not surprisingly.
My first 4 lines in this, actually, each one has a nod to a different piece of mine that's already been written. So yeah, this is definitely one of my cornerstones for this. This is called Mark IV Geranium. I just sent it to you guys in the group text.
Yep, I'm on it.
Okay,
cool. Thank you.
Hold on, I'm gonna mute it so sounds, because my computer's always shit.
I will mute you. Yeah.
Okay.
Somebody remind me that I'm muted after this, because I will probably start talking. I do that every time. So yeah, for real.
Okay, Mark IV Geranium. I guess I didn't think that there was more beneath the ice. Didn't think the great experiment was just me being nice. Never thought that I could shut my mouth and get the message out directly through the eyes. And didn't think the virus would still be here after all this time. Thought I'd hit my limit, but I never saw the line. Always think I'm finished, that I'm visited by half a dozen rhymes. Visited by half a dozen visions of the future Bezos has in mind. A future you can picture since you've lived it half your life, but now it's blooming brighter like a jasmine in the night, or more like a prototype of Amazon vine. You put it in some soil and pretend that it's alive, and let it see the sun so it can read the Wi-Fi. And Amazon promises it doesn't read your dreams or seep a toxin in the air that makes you sensitive to sunlight. So yeah, you may not ever get to see another sunrise, but you got a year's sub to Amazon Prime because it came with a free code. Sentient, even in its sleep mode. Scanning faces, mapping clothes, keeping records of your speech and your habits on your phone, shaping all their ads to target you alone. And suddenly you look up from the glow of your device and it's just you alone, frozen in the ice beside the fossil of a megaphone, frozen next to faded signs like we are all Assange and send Mumia home. If Bezos had his way, we wouldn't need a home. We'd spend every day inside our cubicles, working every finger to the bone or up our cuticles, fed by only fear and our adrenochrome. Till one day you escape, but it's a little too late, because you won't recognize it when you see your home. Because you still look the same, but all your friends are in the senior home. Because Bezos lured you right into the cryo tank by telling you that you're the type of worker he would like to groom for CFO. And you don't know your name, but you know somewhere there's a bank where Jeff had told you that your pay would go. But it's right in the center of his hideous estate, past the Amazon drones and the Amazon tanks, who call in every Amazon robot dog in the ranks within range of their radios. And these are not the dogs that you have seen in the videos. These are dogs that no one else has seen and lived to document, and you do well to pray for those and pity those. Every little movement is unnatural and alien, and such a blatant mockery of canine form contorted into such a monstrous radiance, it chains you to a fear that is the oldest and the innermost. Hidden close to visions of the blaze that only took a half a day to sweep Arcadia and burn the forest down, allowing Jeff to break ground on the Prime Coliseum and the Amazon Stadium. Somewhere he can sit and watch us battle to the death to have a shot to fill an open spot and maybe make enough to pay for insulin and radium. Imagine all the rush of the palladium, but painted in the neon sort of gray of pure uranium. Safe to say if Elon had his way, we'd all be husks with just enough cerebral mush to push the buttons, but not enough to make it past the Tesla brand Mark IV geraniums, who tell the little microchip they slipped into your cranium to trickle out some lithium to level off your gradient. Maybe you'll think twice before you go try something brave again. Maybe you'll think twice and then the prior thought will fade again. Tesla training pamphlets all acknowledge there's a period where entry-level interns and associates may need a little breaking in. You can shut your eyes, but they're still breaking in. Down beneath the ice, the earth is caving in. Down the road, when Amazon knocks down your home, the house just can't be found. It's just an Amazon casino wrapped around the globe, and every hand they make you fold and tell you Bezos wins. Bezos makes the rivers red where NATO swims. Watch the UN fume again and draft a resolution to compose a strongly worded letter stating their admonishment, condemning the abuse of human rights, and then they all go back to watching with a paralyzed astonishment. Frozen in the air like they're the painting of a parliament, locked in counter-arguments, quoting from the blackest stack of Amazon-approved redacted documents. Amazon's internal workings writhing like a toxic mass of moccasins. Amazon's job fair day where they lied about your pay and then they locked you in. Watched by all the jasmine and geraniums and hyacinth, stalking you and mocking you while eyeing you with higher sense and booting up the drive that loads the protocol for violence. So here's to the day when the pylons go silent and miles of highway close in a blink like the weight on your eyelids. Here's to your secrets once nothing is private. And here's to the prototype Amazon Vine that, according to Alexa, is just minutes from arriving. Misty, you're muted.
I unmuted myself, but I was thinking.
Jesse, you're muted too.
Yeah, Jesse, you're muted.
All right.
I unmuted myself, but I was just thinking.
I said, surprisingly, or maybe sadly, probably sadly, nothing about that seems dystopian. I mean,
I know, right? That's what I was saying. There were times I thought I was really going sci-fi, and then I read back over it. I'm like, no, that's next year. That's 2022. Like shit.
But at the same time, you do capture that feeling really well, and you make the corporate, the capitalist aspect, the predatory aspect through capital of it. So you make the connection so well, I think. And
yes,
without it being, again, as we said in past episodes, proselytizing or like
thank you.
Trying to.
I hope so. That's the
goal. It's not didactic.
And I feel like, especially for this, even more than the songs, that's crucial. If I want these to be able to be absorbed right, I don't want it to feel like it's me talking down to someone or starting into a 5-minute piece like I'm about to just preach to you like I know more than you about politics or you don't see things the way they are. I hope that if nothing else, you can hear in my voice that it's more of a like desperate attempt to try to be heard, exactly.
It's like a plea, like please.
It is that's
what it is for me. Like, please, like it's so apparent, really.
Yeah.
All this stuff is so apparent that it's depressing that people accept this. This is just the way that it is. This is the best we can do, and it makes me sad that the American populace has allowed themselves to get beaten down so much. Yeah, that this is like. This is what they're accepting. We can't even get $15 an hour minimum wage. That's an insult. We can't get healthcare in the middle of a pandemic that they claim to care so much about. Really? I mean, these are just like basic, and people still think that electoral politics are going to get us anywhere. Like, no, are you kidding? This is, I don't know. This all just really gets on my nerves so much just because it's we deserve better. Like even the people who I like really get annoyed with because they're so like useful idiots. It still, it sucks for you too. And I would really like for you to have a better life as well. Yeah. We're getting screwed. Yeah. Hardcore.
I would say with regard to your voice, there's a desperation in it, but there's an anger that underlies that. And it's not a self-righteous anger. It's
justified.
It's an empathetic human anger.
Thank you, man.
Yeah, I'm trying to find, I hate it when I need to start like marking shit as I go because I get really frustrated when I can't find stuff.
I do. I would like to think that this does kind of get across that desperation of someone trying to get a message out of like I don't know, like the tape that gets thrown to you from a prison or the you know, someone runs up to you and says a few things before they get dragged away by the Gestapo, you know, like that kind of like, this is my window is closing to be heard. And the urgency kind of spills out into the fact that, again, the 7 things I'm reading you guys, I wrote in the course of 6 days.
Yeah.
Like and it usually is warmer weather that all of a sudden I just kind of hit this manic period. And then it's just like nonstop. And always at work. It usually is that I'm just kind of, whenever I have a down moment or a machine breaks or I'm not, you know, like I'll be driving on the forklift and just kind of reciting lines back and forth to myself until I have a chance to stop and like type them into my phone.
So much.
Yeah, sometimes my girlfriend will come downstairs in really deep end of night and go to the bathroom, and I'm just sitting on the couch thinking, but I'm sure to her it looks like, what the hell are you doing? Like just staring at the wall, but just thinking of fragments and lines. And I'm trying to put a poetry collection together. So,
nice.
You know, I'm also dealing with that way of ordering pieces as well.
Yeah.
I think it's going to come to me having to print all them out and then put them on the ground and just see like what correspondences.
Yeah. Oh, that's a neat idea.
Yeah. But, yeah, like you said, driving around on the forklift and just thinking of stuff, you know, I used to do that at every, office job I had too. Like, whenever I got a chance, I would write.
Every job.
Yeah.
Every job ever, you know, every job ever. Okay. But I did find something I wanted to talk about. Yeah. No. Okay. So, Sentinel, even in its sleep mode, scanning faces, mapping close, keeping records of your speech and your habits on your phone, shaping all their ads to target you alone. And suddenly you look up from the glow of your device and it's just you alone. Oh, dude, like dystopian. That's right now. That's right now.
Yeah.
That's what's happening right now. I mean, really, you guys, this isn't dystopian at all. We're already like in most of this. And I honestly don't think people realize how bad it is for real. Which is weird.
Yeah.
Cause to me it's very obvious, but I don't think people have any idea how genuinely bad it is.
Yep.
Obviously the enlightened ones like us do, but
I don't even know that it's nothing about being enlightened. I just think that propaganda is very effective.
It's heavy. Yep.
And it's heavy and it's and I'm not saying that I have all the answers or that I know every single piece of propaganda or that I am not, you know, susceptible to falling for propaganda.
Yep.
Everybody is. I'm not saying that not. I'm just saying that.
But as soon as you see through it, then you start wanting to try to shake people out of it. It's natural.
For sure. And I mean, to me, this stuff is obvious. The fact that they're monitoring every single fucking thing you do, everything. They know where you grocery shop, where your kids go to school, what gas station you prefer, what brand of macaroni and cheese your kids eat. You know, they know everything about you. That's not hyperbole. That's not a conspiracy theory. That's real talk. They know everything about
I just got to say, today is the first time I've actually read what your pillow says behind you, and I love it so much. I can't I've always been so distracted by the Julian Assange painting. I've never noticed the pillow before.
Shout out to Artsy Marxist.
I know, dude. Her stuff is incredible.
Yes.
Like,
seriously, if you treat yourself to some art, go check out our girl, Artsy Marxist.
Yep.
She's fantastic. You know, she did. I mean, look at it. And seriously, and obviously my internet sucks, so it's very fuzzy, but I've tried to take pictures of it. Doesn't do it justice.
It's so well done.
So
I know.
Good. It's really good. Seriously.
So did you guys just get the second piece I sent you?
Yes, I think so. Okay. Hold on. Let me. Yes. Wait.
Okay, let me check.
Open heart.
Open heart. Okay.
Yep.
Yeah. Okay.
Let me just check real quick.
How long do you have, Jesse? Do we need to hustle?
I've got another hour and a half.
Okay, well, you have 7 things to do. So
6.
Okay.
We're already whittling down.
Okay. So
I got the lyrics.
Okay.
Cool.
So this is Open Heart. This is another one. From the next record. I took my heart out, put it in the trash. Looking back, I guess I should have just donated it for research. Grabbed a sweater. I was bleeding through my t-shirt. Took my phone out, gave the media a scroll, and saw a dozen pigs brutalize a man until he had a seizure. And then continue beating because it's more than just a knee jerk, it's an everyday procedure. Absolute power is the sickest teacher. Absolute power makes the crowd afraid of anything but heaping thanks upon the proud protectors of this fascist state, so they can't wait to praise their brave demeanor. They can't wait to cheer on all the officers who beat their neighbors bloody, because they're not the ones detained, they're the ones who got to watch it from the bleachers. If you thought that was bleak, then grab your seats, I'm getting bleaker. Down 1,000 leagues beneath the dreams of the beleaguered, beyond the wall of sleep into the clamor of the non-sleepers. Ever deeper till I'm barely hearing my own reverb, till I can't feel my own speaker, till I can't see a future where I'd ever change a lyric just to land a feature. And I've never been a man to go for standard features. I'd like to wax my fingerprints and sand my features, smoother than the patch you slapped across your tax releases. Because we live in a world where you can watch a dozen cops assault a man until he's seizing, and you might feel the need to try to film it since there's no one else who sees it. And if they see your phone, then they'll be at your throat announcing how they're here to seize it. And if you don't comply with them, you know it's open season. And instinct tells you yell for help until you remind yourself that you'd be calling for the aid of the same brave policemen who are threatening to bash your teeth in. This land is your land, now here's your easement. This is the law, and those upholding it are far from decent, but not too far from calling your free speech a form of treason. Not too far from calling in the dogs and watching gleefully as you get torn to pieces. You don't need to break the law for them to find a reason, because now the laws can change into whatever your arresting officer will deem needed. So pardon me if I'm a bit defeatist. But how is our compassion for the least of us so rarely ever focused on the poor, but more concerned about a fetus? As you can see, you need not be a member of the ruling class to be elitist. As you can see, you needn't be concerned about our needs to come and lead us. I mean, look at how our leaders treat us. See how they don't even hide. They step out in the brightest light of day to say they plan to cheat us. And we would let them lock us in a cage, and when they send us on our way, we wouldn't say a word should they display the nerve to claim they freed us. We just thank them for protecting us and serving us and macing us and beating us and raping us and turning off the cam so there's no proof of what they take from us. So basically, we thank them for our freedoms. They don't give a shit about your rights. That's why they never read them. That's why your senators are racing to delete them, knowing you'll observe the process helplessly and still do anything to please them. And knowing you'll eternally be thanking them for all your freedoms, even when you really can't perceive them. I need a punching bag in this room sometimes. I swear I just want to punch a hole in the wall. Like,
I told you I need like a playlist of this shit so I can listen to it while I work out.
I do, you know, I think after this, the next record, I need to do a metal project, because there are some of these things that I just want to scream so badly. Like it's just nothing else is going to get that out. Oh God.
You get done working out and the elliptical's just ripped to pieces.
It's like smoking. Yeah, that would be great. That would be really funny.
I'm gonna launch right into another one. We're just going rapid fire now.
All right, send it, dude.
Just gonna send it. Well, I just woke up. It's a little dark outside, but what are you, silly? I'm still gonna send it. I don't know if either of you are familiar with Larry Enticer. Or no, is it Larry Enticer?
I am not.
It's this dude. He makes these videos. He's got this beautiful mullet. He's dressed in the full Canadian tuxedo, and he does these ridiculous tricks on an old snowmobile. And it's kind of part, I don't know, part Jackass, part Trailer Park Boys. And just this guy just is some of the most wonderful, quotable internet nonsense.
What's his name again?
Man, I feel like Larry Enticer is not right. Okay, here we go.
Well, anyway, I don't.
Oh, it is Larry Enticer. Okay, that was right. Yeah, so please do yourself a favor. After this, that is the perfect cool down period to remind you that you can still laugh and experience some joy in this world.
How do you spell that name?
Larry, Enticer. The Enticer was an old model of snowmobile, and that's what he drives around, and he just hits some jumps that he falls, and you think the thing is just going to explode from underneath him. It's so graceless and beautiful at the same time. I can't even. Okay, sending you guys a third piece.
All right, I'm ready.
All right.
Whoa.
This is Civil War. I know it's hard to pay attention, but I need you eyes up right now. Try to give me just a little more. At the risk of sounding like a pessimist, I think it's safe to say that brighter days might be laying down 6 feet beneath the floor. At the risk of sounding too accelerationist, I think we just might need a civil war to stand a chance against a ruling class who rigged the game and spent a fortune more than we could ever save on an ad campaign to explain how we're looking at an even score. They complete the ritual and disappear through hidden doors. They wrap up a speech about a water crisis warning you to ration every drop, and you get thirsty at the thought and turn around to find them sitting at your table, calmly sipping yours. They've set up travel offices, locked up all your faucets, started shitting on your kitchen floor. Like, thanks for your support, bitch, vote some more. We can keep this going like an open sore. Watch your squat estate turn into storage wars. Watch them turn your will into an order form. Order up the perfect storm. An unassuming operative of court-approved surveillance and coercion, one which the most studious observer would confirm is nothing more than your nasturtium. One in which the utterly malignant Mr. Musk has swapped out all the chlorophyll for Tesla chloroform, propagating seeds that breed a lord of war, that wait to germinate until the day that Tesla is set to merge with Amazon. So begins the long descent of Babylon, when all your churches, homes, and little monuments are trampled on. And while I know the sound will be so sickening, I also know a little part of me is gonna wish I had my sampler on to capture all the screams of disbelief from the insulated, gated, safe communities that never seemed to care how many bodies all their land was on. Because now they're all patrolled by the same soulless soldiers that when they pull you over couldn't give a flying fuck if it's a taser or a gun that their hand is on. And some are only in it for the thrill of knowing every day they're making sure another kid is finding out their dad is gone. Who'd have thought Biden's racial jungle would be planted here by Amazon?
Damn, dude. Yeah.
I said right on, and then I forgot I had muted myself.
Okay, so,
We should have, I don't know. We need like a little alert of some kind. Unmute.
Like a life
I'll
alert.
say it after the next one.
Like a life alert pendant.
Well, the problem is yes. Exactly that.
So I've always known that my laugh when I'm really something takes me by surprise is something of a cackle. But a guy I work with the other day said something that I'll never forget. He was like, "You know who your laugh reminds me of?" Which is never good. And I was like, "Who?" He said, "Elmo." And now I think of that every time I really laugh. That's right what I go to. Like, thanks, man.
Oh, that's funny.
There was a guy, I don't know if I've ever told you guys this story. I was in a bagel shop once near here, and a kid behind the counter, God bless him, was just baked out of his mind. And I come up to place my order. He goes, "You know who you look like?" I go, "Uh-oh." I'm like, "Who?" He goes, "Post Malone." So
I don't know if I know what Post Malone look. Wait, doesn't he have a bunch of tattoos like all over?
Yeah, but he's just kind of got, desert beard, hair, just kind of doing whatever. And so I was like, thanks. And he was like, "What's the name for the order?" He goes, "No, you know what? Never mind." And he gives me a receipt that says Post Malone.
Oh, goodness.
You should try to get that on the cover somehow.
I should. Okay. Send in another.
Yeah, I think we have it already. Is it Trump era hashtags?
Trump era hashtags.
Yeah.
All right.
Okay. Let's do it.
We're the ones who donated so you can win the race, then turn around and make the cash grab. And then we turn around and thank you for the backstab. Only have to change the names on Trump era hashtags to hashtag Biden lied, people died, hashtag Biden built the wall, and hashtag Biden is a fascist. That one's going to get a workout this summer every gas attack. Every time they kettle you and rush you in a charging armored mass attack. And the last thought you have before your head hits the ground, splits, shatters, and then bounces back is how much they deducted for that body armor just before they gave your measly taxes back. This is war, and that's a fact. This is more than Biden gets to fix by saying riot bad, white terror good, and sending you off with a little placid satisfaction thinking that was that. But that was far from that. That was far from making 0.5 of a fraction of a surface scratch. That was only muddying the waters of your scrying pools, grind a little gravel on your looking glass. So that when all the truth is bare, it is but an empty air and a 1,000-yard stare with which we're looking past. And all it took for me was one classic Biden speech to know there's nothing I won't put him past. Be it jacking up your insulin or caging every immigrant or threatening the victims of his sex offense and smearing them to try to get his footing back. Biden is a war crime veteran who's dropped the bomb on better men and all for only Lockheed Martin's benefit. So please don't try to paint his bitter bigotry as something tame, like he was just a grumpy grandpa bitching for his pudding back. Unity and solidarity to Joe Biden means a meeting where the hoods are black, which if it's representative of anything, it's just the executioner who lives to swing the axe and never once has thought of looking back. And some need never fear the axe who still possess a hope chest with the wood intact. The same who swear they'd never march with all those nasty fascists, but they would in fact. The same who say they'd never cheer a journalist who's being tortured for exposing war crimes each of us should deem important, but they would in fact. The same who say they wouldn't call the cops on every unassuming black teenager they see walking down their block, but they would in fact. Biden said he wouldn't, so you voted when you shouldn't, because he would in fact. That's Trump era hashtags.
Oh, and that's so good because Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez just came out saying that he's exceeded her.
Yeah, I know. I love that, right?
Oh, are you kidding me? And there are people legitimately defending that. There are people
they can have like self-contradicting headlines now and people eat it up. The one I saw the other day that killed me was breadlines grow despite economic recovery. Oh, didn't you guys get the memo? Like, economy's doing great. Why are so many of you starving still? Like, get your shit together.
But what would it mean for you and your family?
Yeah, right.
Oh my God, I'm so sick of those fucking tweets, you guys.
Yeah.
Oh my God, I'm so sick of them. It's seriously, I call it story time with the poors. That's what that is. That's story time with the poors. Tell us how bad you need this thing that you should definitely already have and that we aren't even going to almost fight for. But tell us how bad you need it. Are you kidding me? That's offensive. Like, that's disgusting to me. Oh, it's so gross. I mean, Bernie Sanders asking questions like that when we damn well know that he's not going to do anything to actually fight for any of that he claims to care about. Nothing. He's already proven that. He's done jack shit. AOC, done jack shit. The squad, done jack shit. None of them have ever done anything for you. Yeah. So stop defending them. It's pathological. I don't know what that is. Cult of personality.
I wonder if they do anything besides like parley around in the halls of Congress.
I know, seriously.
Talk gossip and what they're gonna live stream while they make dinner that night. Yeah,
I mean, yeah. And they'll do like these like they just reintroduce the Green New Deal, which they make it out to be this thing, and it's this bullshit corporate giveaway, watered down piece of shit. It's not even like a bill. And it's, you know what I'm saying? But they want to parade that around as like their win. And but they get away with it. Like people are so willing to justify that and make excuses for that and cheer that on. And, and just defend that like to the ridiculous degree, it's just really bizarre.
I tweeted out yesterday, just the Green New Dud.
I love that.
I saw that.
Which is essentially what it's become. Yes. Yeah, but you're right. It's not even like, what is it? It's just this like blob of like competing.
It doesn't
narratives.
Even address the military industrial complex. It doesn't mention the word fracking one time.
Yep.
I mean, really? Right there. Boom, boom.
Yep.
Done. What are you talking about? What's the point of this? Because the military industrial, if your environmentalism doesn't address the military industrial complex, you're doing it wrong. That's the biggest
polluter,
purveyor. Yes. This isn't even up for debate. Like and not only that, if you're an environmentalist, I would assume you're also a humanitarian. And so ending war should also be a good thing. So dude, look at that. 2 birds, 1 stone. Yeah. What are you waiting on?
Yep.
Hey, one thing at a time.
Yeah, right.
Oh, okay. Right.
Incrementalism.
Oh, yes. I forgot. You're right. I'm sorry.
We can't save the world from every angle at once.
I'll report to the gulag.
You guys get... This is number 5, New World Anthem.
Oh, yeah.
Okay. This is going to be the first piece on the spoken word album because it actually opens with the repeated last line from the last song on Inauguration Gift.
Okay.
Lockheed Martin OnlyFans ends with a few chanted lines that build up in vocal chant. Which, you know, I'm a huge H.P. Lovecraft fan. If that isn't obvious in how wordy some of my stuff is. But I'd always loved and have used in a few things some of that weird kind of ritual sense of things. But at the end of that song, I wanted to have something that gets chanted in just this adding chorus of voices and then fades out.
Yeah.
And I really like the idea of opening this next piece up with that, because originally I thought the acoustic album was going to be, you know, my next major project, and this was going to be a side thing. If anything, this is just kind of what my writing has turned into. I feel like it's easier for me to get my point across if I'm writing a spoken word piece, and my delivery has more intensity to it.
Mm-hmm.
And at least for the time being, that's kind of what I'm doing and what I love doing. So this is as much a follow-up to Inauguration Gift than any other album would have been, especially topically. So this will be the first track on it, so that it'll kind of have a tie-in to where I.
So this is the
left
first
off.
track. Okay, I'm glad.
This will be the first track on the Coming of Spring. Yep, this is a New World Anthem. This is the home of the brave. This is the land of the free. One was foreclosed in 08. One was condemned in 16. One day soon, when it's all torn down and the New World Anthem erupts from the ground in the choir of terrible sounds coming out of the studio audience trapped in the rubble beneath, we'll see that theirs is a river that runs through the streets. Theirs is a river that ought to have brought us all up to our feet and off of our knees. But who would have imagined the sound of it flowing would hit your ears like a peaceful creek and just ease you to peaceful sleep, so that you don't see that the news you read is just parroting a narrative, a new world American imperative, that you believe whatever the police believe, that you speak less English and more in the vein of a CIA press release. If the rest is dissent, then the rest will cease. Wish I could put you to rest and say, honey, it's all been a dream. But this was a test, and the lesson was the better learn less within the breach than the observance. If the rest is dissent, it will no doubt be met by a heavy military service. So starts the war between ruling class fascists and their wage-starved servants. That's my time. Here's a tape marked urgent you can take back to the surface. Now go and tell our masters that it's time for them to serve us. Time for them to finally serve their purpose. And if that makes them nervous, then it's only because they know that they deserve it. For building back the wall and all their recent talk of iron curtains. For funneling us all into the shelters or the missing persons. Because God forbid they open up their coffers or their purses. They'll only spring for coffins if you fill an application out and they decide you're worth it. And actually, you foot the bill, they'll pay you back. They swear they will. I mean, do you recall a time the US government had lied or changed their minds regarding something crucial like a treaty or a reimbursement? You really think this country can't afford a decent plastic surgeon? And urge you right along so you can't spot a single flaw in all the newest versions? Our leaders wash their image and their money in the same detergent and bathe in all our data like the blood of virgins. And over the horizon howls a horrifying giant who once performed the rites of merging Sprint and Virgin and who heralds now the sacrifice of Sprint to feed Verizon. It's always open season in the corporate sense, and we're the severed heads that will adorn the fence around the mandatory fair where we will be concurrently the ones who buy the tickets to the circus and the useless prizes. Torture wears such fair disguises. Unmute.
Did I unmute? I think I already did.
Yep.
Okay.
You did. That was
Damn,
dope.
dude. Okay, wait. Hold on. Oh, come on, Winston.
But do you recall a time the U.S. government had lied or changed their minds regarding something crucial like a treaty or a reimbursement?
Where is that?
It's actually a matter
after
of
the coffins bit. I had a feeling when I wrote the thing about the coffins paying you for your burial, I was like, Misty is gonna get a kick out of this line. I guarantee.
Yes, because that's one of those things I was just talking about, where they like do something completely ridiculous and pretend like it's this
slap
win
in the face, and people are like, "Well, nice, look at us, look at them throwing us a bone."
Hey, we're not going to put up even the tiniest bit of a fight for healthcare, not even a little bit. We're not even going to talk about it, but we will maybe get you some money to pay for your funeral if you die. But that's only if you go ahead and pay for it out of pocket and then apply to be reimbursed. And then if we decide that you qualify, we might send you some money. Are you fucking kidding me? And people are defending that. These are people who ran on Medicare for all, challenging the Democratic establishment, really fighting for the people. Please tell me, what have they done to do that? Somebody tell me, other than this performative bullshit, what have they done? I want to know.
They don't do anything for lesser humans like us. And
it's so annoying.
Just getting back to Biden, which you mentioned in not the last song, but the previous song, I think the most so far. I think it's important to bring up the U.S. denial of necessary ingredients, I guess you could say, for India to manufacture the COVID-19 version of the vaccine. And it's some kind of export ban that's, I don't know how long it's been around exactly, but it's basically the Biden administration saying, we'd rather you die than have to deal with removing this export ban, which is essentially a sanction, which is essentially economic warfare, which is essentially warfare. And at the same time, like literally at the same time in Los Angeles, I believe, and I think it's a good thing, he recognized the Armenian genocide as an actual genocide that took place, which I believe to be true. But how do you go from murderous sanctions to, I don't know what you would call it, observing the anniversary and giving,
because that's the extent of it. That's the comfortable, safe way to do it, is in the form of a nice little speech you get to make observing the anniversary of a blah 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 that you just went and did the modern day version of with a fucking pen stroke. That's
because here's the thing: why does it take 100+ years for somebody to acknowledge a genocide when they could just stop participating in the ones that we're doing right now? Now we are participating in multiple genocides. The United States of America is actively participating in Yemen, in Palestine. I mean, like seriously, but we have so 100 and some odd years later, we're going to give Joe Biden props for recognizing a genocide as he's actively participating in multiple. That's such a weird thing. Like, how about we just stop doing the ones now? I mean, yes, we should, definitely acknowledge the ones that have happened in the past for sure, but we also need to stop participating in the ones we're doing right now.
I think recognizing the denial and then also learning the history of past ones is directly linked to the ones that are currently happening, the ones that the US is mostly perpetrating. And so, like Misty said, we should pay attention to those and know their history. But it also reminds me, Biden's sort of back and forth here, his flip-flopping, his hypocrisy. It reminds me of something Norman Finkelstein said about Obama. I forget during which term, but Norman Finkelstein said, I think it was Obama's second term, when people were really seeing him for what he is. And Norman Finkelstein said on Democracy Now!, the problem with Obama, why he's able to pull the wool over so many people's eyes and cultivate the image he's cultivated for himself, is because he doesn't stand for anything. One day he's giving Bob Dylan the Nobel Peace Prize or whatever that prize was, and the next day he's drone murdering American 16-year-olds in Yemen. So there was nothing, it was very nebulous, even to those of us who pay attention to this stuff on a daily basis. But I think we pretty quickly saw through that. But I think we're seeing the same thing with Joe Biden, and it's just this nebulous sort of tepid mass of politics. And
just like Joe Biden, or I'm sorry, just like Obama, any of Biden's more murderous and like hawkish actions in office, will them going, oh, he's just kind of governing more from the center. He's turning out to be a bit more of a centrist than we thought. You know, like it's just some really benign little shift in policy, and not him just doing the opposite of everything he said he was going to do, you know, and being more Republican than the Republican candidate might have been.
Yeah.
Can anybody remember the last time a Republican came out as emphatically, and I don't know if this is an adverb, but warmongeringly as Obama and Biden have, as Bush Jr. I mean, Bush Jr., there you go. But
Obama was very sneaky about his warmongering. Like he was very he's gifted. He's very talented. He's a very gifted politician. He's a smooth talker. He's very good at misdirection and charm, and you know what I'm saying? So he put he was just very good at subtlety and keeping and making things look like, I mean, seriously, dude got away with saying we tortured some folks. Like just because he's charming in the way that he said it, in the way that, you know, it's like, oh, well, Obama says it's okay, so it must be okay. Like it's like he like lulled people to sleep or something. And so he's like a different, he's a different animal altogether. I think he's a little scary.
You guys just got, you did. Okay.
Oh, yeah, we got it. Are you ready to do the next one?
Yeah, so I got two more.
Yay.
This is Lifelike Decay. The power balance shifted, and suddenly the CDC said we were free to scurry back to normalcy, and all the bans were lifted. All the masks were thrown into a dumpster full of body bags, like we were out to sea and had a captain always screaming, land, no matter how far out we drifted. No matter how far down you kept your head, you would be plucked from out the crowd and you'd be scanned and sifted. You'd be human contraband they smuggled off of private land to 20 years unlawfully detained to waste away beneath a federal prison diet plan. You'll accept a brand made of the bloodshed of your fellow man and think that you're still free because they let you pick the hand and let you dip it in. I used to think they looked at us like dividends. Now I think they see us more like fees, and they think feeding us amounts to breeding fleas, so our humanity is fading in their dissonance. If Trump was ever right, it's when he said we had no innocence. And incidentally, also when he cut the cost of insulin. We reached the Oval Office for a comment, and they emailed back a geosat photo of our office with a target on it reading, please confirm this is the site where you would like the special forces to arrive to try and beat out a denouncement of your insolence, and mace you in the face each time you cry or try to choke out claims of innocence. Now, aren't you glad you voted blue to insulate your ignorance? When censorship was rushing past, you offered gas and asked if you could push the pedals. Suddenly, when all of the election dust has settled, you've been gassed and kettled. Only now you start to see there's very little difference, and what difference there is clearly not how you'd envisioned it. Like when Biden said he lied and that 100,000 immigrants were limited. Kept the limit Trump had implemented that we said was un-American and hideous. And suddenly it's standard foreign policy, and Joe's equipped with all we need because he's so up to speed and so fastidious. And that's the line the news will try to sell, and you can tell they think we're really that oblivious. Because clearly we were really that oblivious. Clearly we accepted lesser stimulus like idiots, like we think our requests to live with dignity should really all be leveled at our leaders in the form of something pleading, something poor, or something piteous. Like it's not enough they worked you to the floor, paying you a wage that spit directly in your face and through your pores directly to the source of your meridians. Till all of the Valerian on what remains of earth cannot return your cursed worth from something burnt into the dirt to something blooming and viridian. Only then you'll start to see there's very little difference, and the difference there is I warned you of for 90 minutes that I bled into the sonic till the every word stood onyx and obsidian in its intent and rigor fucking mortis in conviction. I delivered it with pops and hiss and honest spit and honest tears and honest smears of politicians who are honestly more evil than you'll ever find in all your fiction. And I honestly don't need your validation for my malediction. And I honestly could feed on all my hate until I'm spirited away at such a raw nutrition. Organic in display like it was something Tesla made with a solo photosynthesis array, a CIA plant that withstands brutal heat as well as temperatures of 45 beneath and does not wither till it carries out its final mission. Realistically, organically decayed among the graves of all who saw the vision I depicted. that waits around the corner like the single mom we just evicted, who put her faith in Biden and was shocked to find him walking every promise back across the profit picket line till homeless shelter funds were tight, resources for stable spots to sleep at night were nowhere she could seem to find, which puzzles her since hers is but a nightmare widely shared and all too easily predicted. Only now she'll start to see there's very little difference, and the difference that there is clearly not what she'd envisioned. Whew, unmute. I said photosynthesis array. That was the Florida in me coming out. Sorry. Photosynthesis.
That seemed like the most angry
Yeah.
so far.
This is definitely the most angry.
Which ironically is also the one where I talk directly about Biden's breaking of promises. I realize I've kind of let him off the hook a lot with all the things he straight up said, I'll do A, and then did B, it just, and again, people are going, oh God, he's so progressive. Is this guy the new FDR or what? Like, Jesus Christ.
Like FDR was that great of a president.
Exactly. Thank you.
Oh my God. That drives me crazy. Oh, stop it. With FDR,
dude is going to be the next Ronald Reagan if we're lucky.
Okay. So here. Okay. So now aren't you glad you voted blue to insulate your ignorance? When censorship was rushing past, you offered gas and asked if you could push the pedals. Suddenly, when all of the election dust has settled, you've been gassed and kettled. Only now you start to see there's very little difference. And what difference there is clearly not how you'd envisioned it. And that is fucking yes. Yep. I mean, stop this. The vote blue no matter who. And no, okay, this is my favorite thing. Y'all voted for fascism to defeat fascism.
Yep.
How'd that work for you? It's Joe Biden is a fascist. And that was apparent like forever. Really? He's never hidden who he is.
Yep.
Go back and watch any speech he ever gave in the Senate. Dude is you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
You voted for Captain Crime Bill, the Iraq war guy. Like, please don't. And then those people question me and really? No, you voted for a fascist. You did that. Not me.
And he still does it now. He has this way of looking so condescendingly and squintingly at the crowd or above their heads or
his eyes getting smaller. Real talk. I want to know.
Seriously.
Are they just medicating him more, do you think? And that's why.
Both. Can't it be both?
Yeah.
But it's even going back to his old speeches and talks when he was ostensibly coherent, he always had that glare on his face, and it was like this thing he practiced in the mirror and like could never quite get right. Like he wanted to have this aristocratic insolence about him while lying to you.
He really just comes across as smugnerant.
Yeah. And I think his eyes might be getting smaller.
I really do think so. I don't know if I think they're just drugging him more, to be honest with you. Because I mean, I'm not, come on, this dude can't.
What do you think they give him? Thorazine?
I have no idea, but I mean, if it like it's elder abuse, but because it's Joe Biden, I'm just like, whatever.
Yeah. I think I think when a bayonet went up Gaddafi's ass, that was elder abuse too.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah.
All right, so I saved this one for last because this is the most angry and the most emotional. Really, this is.
Oh wait, this is more angry than the last one.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Oh, okay.
This is the one I really tried to focus my best on Biden, and then I made the mistake of talking about my kid, and now I can't get through it without crying. So we'll see how that goes. But this might be the closing piece for it.
I would say yes, and I haven't even heard it yet.
If not, it'll be second to the last, because I think I would like to, although I hate for it to be so far back in the track listing, I think I would like to end the spoken word album with Conviction, because I want the album to end with The Next Voice's Silence Might Be You. I think that's such a good place. If there's any line I could wrap this up with, or any message to drive home at the very end, it's Julian. So I think that'll probably be my closing piece, but this will be right before it, because this kind of is I think the natural kind of shaking off some of the sci-fi themes and coming back to just what's going on right now.
And I've noticed, obviously you alluded to this with the cover and the flowers, and then seeing beneath that veneer, the wires and the mechanisms at work. And I feel it seems like your language in your songs, your lyrics very much reflect that. You're referencing flowers I've heard of. I could not identify them unless you showed them to me.
Yeah. No, it's like a really good through line.
It's peppered throughout. And I think it's just a theory of mine, but maybe one of the meanings of that metaphor is that, and this might sound corny, but there is a next generation after us. And, you know, are they going to be able to bloom, or are they going to be, you know, turned artificial somehow, or just completely ruined?
And that's what I liked, is the duality of that phrase. Obviously that's a throwback to, you know, the I know I'm paraphrasing here, but you can cut down every flower, but you cannot stop the coming of spring.
Right.
That you know, no matter what the revolution happens, no matter what you do to the revolutionaries, but also in the context of these plants appearing that have more and more malign purposes, the coming of spring and the arrival of plants has a much darker connotation. So I like that either way, kind of whether you're feeling optimistic or not, you can take that title in a different way. And that'll be obvious. And I can only imagine what Landon will do with that cover. But the thought of, you know, the partially obscured Amazon and Tesla logos, little subtle a panel with some exposed wiring and things like that, amongst some flowers that are seem real, a few little nuances that make them a little more sinister when you look at it. But still that kind of psychedelic magic eye floral pattern to it, but still in black and white like my other covers. So yeah, this piece.
Can I make a cover recommendation?
Yeah, of course.
Just Joe Biden standing in one of his suits with a Venus flytrap as a head. And it's like wide open, ready.
Oh God, that'd be great. So yeah, I don't know if Spotify will let me use, I can't remember if they will let you use symbols in a title. So if not, this will actually have to be written out as less than understanding. But wherever possible, I will just use the symbol and it'll be less than understanding.
I know you can use symbols with playlist titles.
Okay.
Not sure.
And hopefully I can. My distribution service is sometimes weird about that, but okay. Here we go. I think that it takes something less than understanding to assist in lending rationale to politicians justifying obstinately blocking out our voices and turning from the needs we've been consistently demanding. And sometimes all it takes to knock us out when we're awake is just some positive strategic branding. Democracy is always greener where the drones are landing. Notwithstanding human damage, we've seen time and time again how little most Americans concern themselves with matters of the foreign and collateral. We've been told that war is something practical. Who'd have guessed that 500,000 deaths were not a tragedy, but really something tactical? But really, did you think you'd see an honest show of grief from those who've only stomached peace in brief war room sabbaticals? Stocking up munitions like crusading Christians here to save this failing fascist system from some 20-something radicals. They'd have you believe the people fighting for your basic needs, your human rights and dignities are really Russian sleeper cells. They're so bent on putting us to sleep, they never sleep themselves. Anything to starve us out to guarantee that they can always feed themselves. Anyone to blame so they can dodge a little heat themselves. Anyone to burn in times of need so they can heat themselves. And most will live and die and never know a day of luxury and leisure like these bloated corpses decadently treat themselves. I'm for barricading them inside until they eat themselves. I'm for building walls around our leaders so they really have to meet themselves and see what they've become while they've been feeding on the hungry. And when we place the last brick blocking out the sun, we'll tell them, we don't fucking want you, you can keep yourselves. Consider it a blessing that we've left you in the dark so you can't see yourselves. Now begins a lifetime of fumbling in the black, looking for the bootstraps we said you'd need to free yourself. Obviously that was false, but funny how you fall for all the tricks you used to teach yourself. Funny that the speech was so effective you had zero recollection that you wrote the fucking speech itself. Funny you've been pointing fingers saying immigrants are leeches, buddy, you're the fucking leech yourself. Maybe do us all a favor and delete yourself. If all that you can offer is our slow, neglectful slaughter, we don't need your help. You may not believe it, Mr. President, but we don't need a helping hand to kill ourselves. What a stroke of luck for you, since you'll do all that Trump would do, that you can just perpetuate his hate and never have to write the bill yourself. And what a stroke of luck for us that you lack half a brain to write the bill yourself. Because the crime bill is bloody proof enough that anytime you had your druthers, you outdid yourself. And legalized abuse, the scars of which this country may not ever rid itself. But mark my words, if there should come a day the scars fade, then America will quickly wash away the true dishonor that it did itself. 2008, I made a resolution not to ever kid myself. 2016, I knew the utter fear of seeing what the world was turning into when I finally had a kid myself. 2021, I sit here staring at my son, and when he offers up a hug, I'm just a frightened little kid myself. Shake it off, it's just another talk I'll have to give myself. It's just something less than understanding. It's the part of me I keep restrained, who's foaming at the brain and chewing through the metal banding. Flying through my future tears and never cleared for landing. 2021, I'm sitting staring at my son, and I am suddenly informed by something more than understanding. The thought that if I pick this spot in history to take the side of silence and complicity, his life would be the more impacted. So no, I don't oppose the fascists because I smell a victory on the air. I oppose them because I cannot see them everywhere and offer no reaction. And I will tell my son that in the war I wield a verbal gun that shits on fascist satisfaction. And hope he knows his dad defends his future with his every passion. Unmute.
Thank you.
That was fantastic.
That was, yeah.
There was a lot of anger throughout the whole song, but I feel as though the line you ended on was sort of the perfect point of empathy you could end that song on.
Kind of cushion that. I hope so. That's what I was going for, because the consider it a blessing that we've left you in the dark so you can't see yourselves. I was really happy with that line, but immediately there I was like, okay, I want to tone this back to a softer ending than that. That's where I wanted to peak and then try to like slow the train down after that.
Well, yeah, and I love that. Okay, because one of my favorite things that Chris Hedges says is, "I don't fight fascists because I'll win. I fight fascists because they're fascists."
Yep,
and that's that. Like you kind of
played off of
played off of that and that, which I love. Not do anything. Yeah, and yes, and I mean, and you're right. Like it's anger, but then it's like it ends with hope. Like, yeah, you're still gonna fight because that's, we have to.
Yeah,
we have to. If we don't have a choice here, we have to.
Yeah.
I mean, what's the alternative? I guess the alternative is to simp for fascist enablers and pretend like it's not a thing. And, listen, this is okay. I'm going to ring it a little bit because it's been pissing me off. People are more pissed off at Jimmy Dore for interviewing a Boogaloo Boy than they are at a sitting progressive congresswoman gaslighting for literal war criminals.
Yeah.
And I don't understand that. So somebody needs to explain that shit to me, because if you are one of these douche canoes who runs around calling Jimmy Dore fascist and because he interviewed some dude who gave a good speech who happens to be a Boogaloo Boy, if you're more angry about that than you are about progressive, if you're more angry about that than you are about Bernie Sanders fighting for Alexei Navalny and not saying a word on Julian Assange, then you know what I'm saying? Like, there's the divide. If that's not stuff that makes you angry, then we're not on the same team.
And did Bernie Sanders just find out about Navalny? I mean, this story has been around for years. Like, was he suddenly
this is just what they want him to focus our attention to.
He's like on the internet, like,
listens to Bernie.
What is this? Russian poisoning? I can use this.
I'm so sick of his shit, dude. Oh, that dude is. People need to stop trying to tell me that Bernie Sanders is a nice guy. He's not a fucking nice guy. Nice guys don't do what he does. Nice guys don't take millions and millions and millions of dollars from hardworking American people who don't really have it to give to him, and know that he has no intention of actually fighting for them. That's not a nice guy. Nice guys don't call people like Joe Biden their good friends. That's not a thing. That's just not a thing. They don't praise people like John McCain. They don't roll over and die on every single issue they claim to fight for. That's just not what nice people do. So stop it. I don't want to hear it anymore. These people are not your friends. Stop thinking that politicians are your friends. They're not your friends. It's so bizarre.
What does nice guy mean anyway? Like,
exactly.
I don't know.
He takes his smelly socks off at the end of the day and hampers them. Like,
I honestly don't know. I'm so tired of hearing it. It's this weird, it doesn't make sense at all. Like he's not, what is that? You're right. What does that even mean? Because he is like this, like comes across as this like curmudgeonly, like old grandpa. And so you like have this relationship with him and this emotional connection to how he made you feel in 2016 or whatever.
Yeah.
Well, grow up and get over it because he's not that person. I mean, he's never been that person either.
Exactly.
Right.
He's never, I mean, look at his record. He's never been, well, okay, maybe in like the 60s and 70s, he may have been a little bit more of that person.
He did.
That's just because we still had people like fucking Strom Thurmond around that he was better by comparison, but now he's the Strom Thurmond.
Yeah, essentially.
It's so ridiculous. I'm just so tired of these people pretending like these progressives are on our side.
Yeah, and I think you asked why AOC is doing what she's doing. It's because, as we've talked about before with her, she doesn't have any historical knowledge. How old was she when the war on Iraq started?
I mean, she doesn't have to have been like alive for that.
No, but I'm saying
about it.
I'm saying she doesn't know anything about that, let alone what the US did to the US and the UK did to Iran in 1953, all of which is connected to what we're seeing now. And without that knowledge, all she has is ignorance, both historical.
It's not just her though. How many politicians actually do know about that stuff? I would venture not very many.
Right, and that's a big reason why that's a big reason why we're seeing the problem we're seeing, and how many of them who call for war have ever seen a war. So
yeah. I mean, honestly, it's not even the politician. It's the politicians are just, again, like the actors. It's really the lobbyists who like write the laws and all, you know what I mean? It's not, the politicians are just the like face on everything. They just do as they're told.
Yeah.
It is what it is. I don't know. I'm just so done with like the progressive stuff, like all of that. I really am.
There will be no plausible deniability.
Right?
None. Oh, Jesse, I just wanted to make the comment earlier. I don't know if you're familiar with the musician Vatican Shadow.
No, it's a great name though.
It's mostly one dude, Dominic Furnow, and he played early on with Cold Cave. I don't know if you're familiar with Cold Cave, but
sounds familiar. That sounds really familiar.
Anyway, I recommend them both, but Vatican Shadow, I think you'd find a lot of pleasure in his song names. I don't know I don't know if he always uses headlines or like fragments from like the US Army manual. But there are always these foreboding headlines, and he's completely instrumental. I would say probably like deep house, some industrial. He's from New York. It's nice. really dark stuff, and it, especially given the song titles and the titles of his albums, it feels sort of like the music one might expect, constantly living under the fear of being struck by a drone.
Oh, really?
Like
okay.
Yeah. So
damn.
It's very atmospheric, but
I hear that.
Not in like a dancey way. You could dance, to it, but it'd be a pretty macabre dance.
Right. So originally, I didn't think I'd have time to do a song too, but we got through those in pretty decent time. I can't believe this popped in my head the other day. I was like, I've been on so many times and thought of different songs to do, and thought I'd been through everything with a sung chorus. Then I was like, Scraps off of The Virus, which is one of my favorite songs because they took the time to cut out samples from people I hate. The beginning of that has Kellyanne Conway. What's that horrible woman? Donna Roach, what's her name, from the NRA?
Donna Loesch from the NRA. Yeah.
And then Kellyanne Conway. And especially once I cut those out and was listening to them, like kind of placing them in the beginning, it's just, again, one of those things I'll never get that sanity back that I lost from having to listen to Kellyanne and Stephen Miller's voices a whole bunch. But I heard Stephen Miller say something about violating the Statue of Liberty in a speech, and I was like, oh God, I got to use that. Like if
it's French anyway.
Right. Okay, so here's an acoustic stab at Scraps.
perception down to the ground and see it swallowed by the snow. Maybe the open mind is a void where nothing ever really grows. Maybe you're outside and I'm in the confines of what I know. I lost my voice out here, and without it I'm never going home. I'm never going home. Never going home. Our voices being stolen. Picture me, capital steps, eyes swollen, carrying a sign reading, "We are being lied to." If healthcare for all was a full nude, Mitch McConnell's only giving side boob. Only making promises to wave a little hope right in your face and then deny you. So pardon me if I would rather burn my fucking vote to defy you. And I hope it makes you hate me, makes you feel like I'm just wasting any chance of bringing change. But I am not complicit in what brought us to this place, and I will not support us being further led astray. And I don't care the color hearse that carries us away. The filth on both the blue and red makes it just sickly gray, and it sickens me to witness just how quickly we obey, how quickly we accept the meager scraps that fall our way. Scraps supposed to last us 30 days. Scraps that barely cover bills that can't be paid, and scraps that wouldn't cover Nancy's chocolate for a day. And all the thoughts and prayers in the world can't fix it, cause I'm drowning in my thoughts and I don't fucking pray. And if this is where you tell me that's the problem, there's the door, pal, thanks for staying. If Jill's right, all you have to do is just swallow, and you can play the game. In that case, Jill, I won't be playing. So how about you save your blame and try to change somebody who still doesn't know which way they're swaying? I won't vote for a rapist, that's all I'm saying. Now when they asked if I had any last words, honey, I did my impression of a spectator at Wimbledon. Back and forth, back and forth. I hope that answers your question, you simpleton. Throw your perception down to the ground and see it swallowed by the snow. Maybe the open mind is a void where nothing ever really grows. Maybe you're outside and I'm in the confines of what I know. But I lost my voice out here, and without it I am never going home. Never going home. Never going home.
And that scraps.
Nice.
Lovely.
Usually at the very end on that song, you get Kellyanne going, "This is absurd." And I still hear that in my head every time.
Oh, she
What
was
was-
funny.
What was absurd was seeing her on the news being interviewed anytime, just seeing that stupid mug of hers and, you know, a mic from CNN or Fox in her face, and just her being taken seriously.
Just freezing up. I know.
I feel that way about so many people in government.
That's the thing. They realized they could get away with her, and they've just given us all these people that like they glitch. I've never seen someone freeze up like fucking Max Headroom, but it really is like you watch them try to talk, and they just have these moments where it just
look at Nancy Pelosi.
does not compute.
Look,
Exactly.
Joe Biden is president.
Exactly.
Joe Biden is president. Dude cannot put together a coherent thought.
Yep.
A coherent thought without like a heavy dose of medication.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like this dude.
And it's so weird because you can tell the days where he's really juiced up and the days where they forgot to charge him. You know, it's like it's so different.
It is. And mostly they just hide him. He doesn't
Yeah.
give a lot of speeches. And when he does, it's like it's very convenient that we're in COVID so that he can't do, you know, like a lot of actual press conferences or anything like that. Or at least that's the excuse that they use. And, you know, and he gets, it's just the way that they're able to manipulate and just hide him away and pretend like everything's fine. And it's amazing how effective the propaganda is in this country, that people actually think that Joe Biden is like a legitimate president who's actually making decisions, who, you know, it's just, I don't know.
Chris Hedges has talked about this for a long time. When the shit goes down and I think we have to be honest with ourselves that it is going down. People like Joe Biden, the elites, are going to retreat to their personal palaces
Bunkers.
at Versailles, as Hedges likes to say. And that's what we're seeing now with Joe Biden, I think, is the beginning of that. This sort of hiding away that we used to make fun of other countries' leaders for doing, like Kim Jong-il, for example. And it's starting, in my mind. We're already starting to see the manifestations of it, and we probably have been for quite some time, but they're really in our faces now.
It's amazing too to see, like, even the people that are fawning all over Jen Psaki and acting like she's doing anything other than just being the human equivalent of a blue screen on your computer. Like, anytime someone asks her anything, it's just this freeze up, we'll circle back to it. I brought cookies, and then it's on to the next thing. There's no...
She's a professional liar.
Yeah.
That is literally what her job is. She is a professional liar. She never tells the truth.
And that is, it's the same school of thought that allows people like AOC to spin the absolute nonsense word soup that she did about Israel. You know, it's just amazing that, and what's even more incredible is that it works to, like, just confuse people into some kind of stupor where they're like, that must have been intelligent because I just lost the last minute listening to you. You know, like it's so disjointed that you think surely no one's going to hear that and think that she wasn't just obfuscating, that's not just misdirection, you know. But we're so bad at identifying that, and we're just
clearly, and this is somebody who ran on Palestinian rights. Like, she ran on that shit, and now she wants to go join up with Israel to use their tech for her Green New Deal. Are you kidding me? And progressives are defending that. She wants to go chill with Israel and use their tech to boost her ridiculous corporate giveaway, watered down bullshit nonsense Green New Deal. Are you really? What happened to Palestinian
windmills
rights?
made from the bones of real Palestinian children?
Well, I mean, it's not like what's happening in Gaza isn't happening anymore. Like, this is still a thing. And she just walked away from it. She completely turned her back on Palestine and walked away from it, and now is like joining forces to work on projects with Israel. I mean, gross.
And there's another thing, man. You want to talk about something that'll get you censored so fast it'll make your head spin. I mean, like, you've seen some of people that tried to, like, post a couple Palestine articles in a Google Drive, and Google flagged their account for, like, terrorism related posts and shit like that. It's like, we're already at that point. Again, they get to decide what's criminal, what's suspicious, what's terrorism, what's, you know.
Because the US designates an organization as a terrorist organization, that means by default it is a terrorist organization, and that's just not true.
The United States of America is the world's largest terrorist organization, period. End of story. It's not up for debate. It's not even close. The United States of America is 100% the world's biggest terrorist organization. Come on. Look at just the number of military bases we have. Boom, done, game over. We win. USA. You know?
Yeah, and Hamas is not a terrorist organization. They were elected in a very free and fair election in 2006, and that's why we see the blockade around Gaza now. That's been there for almost 15 years, which is quite insane to think about.
If we didn't arm them, fund them, and train them, they're probably not terrorists. Because usually we are arming, funding, and training all the terrorists. That's
if it wasn't USA made, it's not a real terrorist.
Well, initially in the 80s, Israel was encouraging the formation and growth of Hamas as an alternative to the PLO, which they saw as more dangerous at the time. And, you know, now I've been following the IDF and other Israeli sources, military sources, and apparently they are firing into Gaza once again because apparently Hamas terrorists, as they call them, are shooting rockets into Israel. And that's another thing. We never hear about these rockets, what they look like, what size they are, what damage they actually do. And we saw a little bit of it in the 2006 Lebanon war with the Katyushas that Hezbollah was using. And they made like potholes in the street while Israel is flying with the most sophisticated bomber jets in the history of mankind and dropping bombs indiscriminately. And I'm supposed to lament, the fact that one of the only ways Lebanon in general has to fight back is these unreliable Katyushas that Hezbollah has. But that's all they have. And they had their tunnel network as well, and that's why they were able to beat the Israelis essentially in that war. But yeah, it's I actually didn't know that until today about AOC and her pairing with Israel, or wanting to. So
yeah.
But
she's so progressive, you guys. For real. Like, she's just so progressive.
Yeah.
That's what it is, though. It's progressive means hipster liberal. I want healthcare, kind of. Not enough to fight for it, but I kind of want healthcare. And I do not give a shit about foreign policy or imperialism. Don't care at all. I'm not going to talk about it. It doesn't bother me. That's what progressive is. That's why I'm not done with progressives. Sorry, fam. Be cooler if you want me to,
She did progress to Zionism, though. So
she did. I guess that's true. I guess she is progressing. Yeah, I guess you're right. That's fair.
Yeah.
Okay, so Jesse, I know you probably have to go because we've had you for a while. Yes, do you need to go?
Yeah, I do.
Probably. Okay, so we're gonna link to all your stuff, obviously, in the show notes. So I mean, if you want to tell everybody where they can find you, you can, or we can just post it. Either way is fine.
I mean, for ease of access, I know a lot of people use Spotify, and I've actually noticed a pretty big uptick in Spotify listens recently, which has been nice to see. So obviously I'm on Spotify. Bandcamp is the most direct place if you are in a position to help support what I do. Bandcamp takes a very, very small percentage of what you choose to pay for an album, and then they have occasions where they don't take anything on Bandcamp Fridays, which is huge. But also, if you want a downloadable copy of the album, and I don't want money to be an issue, so please DM me on Twitter. I have download links for the virus and inauguration gift that I'm happy to give. I'll be doing this week, actually, this coming Friday. I'll be doing Krish Mohan's live show. I'll be doing a performance on there, which is going to be really fun. And then my episode of interview with him on his podcast should be out this week as well.
Okay, great.
Aside from that, I'm gonna kind of sequester away and record. So I might get to come back with you guys beforehand. I don't know when you have an opening again. We'll talk about that. But
for you, man, anytime.
Yeah, anytime. I mean,
so this was fun. I mean, I did just about half of the material that's gonna go on the spoken word album. There's 15 tracks and I did 7 today. So
seriously.
So yeah, it's that's as close to like a full, full reading as I've done so far. But
we should come back once it's out and we can like re-examine some of these.
I would love, if you wanna, heck, we'll plan like a release day listening party performance thing and just run through it. But yeah, thank you guys so much. Seriously, again, I've looked forward to this so much, especially getting to sit down, just rapid fire and run through.
Of course.
Piece, so.
It's always fun. Always fun.
Cool. Okay. Well, everybody check out Jesse's work. Obviously, go do it. And yeah, we'll catch you next time.
Awesome.
Later.
Thank you guys.